Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel. Peter, boom, 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 review stuff. And I am back for another review for Bad Movie Review Mondays, although it's Tuesday, because I needed extra time to finish the movie for this week. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have started a new series over here, which is called Bad Movie Review Mondays. And every Monday, I will be bringing a fresh review to you of a notoriously, horribly bad movie. And last week, I did the movie Angel, which was one of my favorite movies when I was growing up as a kid. But I got so many recommendations from people to do like really bad, horrible Christmas movies that I thought, oh, that's a great idea. So I got online and I started reading all of these lists and that people compiled of like the 20, 25 worst Christmas movies ever made. Many of them were Lifetime movies. Many of them were Hallmark movies. I think Santa versus the Martians from the 50s was like at the top of a lot of these lists. Krampus, I think, was on the top of this list. But somebody I put it out on Twitter, and somebody said, what about Santa Jaws? And I don't remember who put it, so I'm sorry that I don't give you all of the fame and glory for allowing me to watch what I believe might be the worst Christmas movie ever made on the planet. You guys, it is so bad. It is so bad that it actually took me 2 whole days to get through, and I watched it in 10-minute spurts. So, the movie that I reviewed, like you just heard, is called Santa Jaws, and I'm putting the poster up here somewhere. Let me read you a little synopsis of what Santa Jaws is all about. Now, if you don't watch my other videos, you might not know that my biggest fear in life is being eaten alive by a great white shark, which I believe that fear came from me watching all the Jaws movies when I was a kid, and when my dad would want to get me out of the pool, he would go, nah, 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 and that would get me out of the pool, like, real quick, right? Even to this day, if I'm swimming in a pool by myself at night, the light at the end of the pool, if it's, like, turned off, looks like a shark eye to me, okay? I can get scared in a pool swimming by myself. So my biggest fear of life is sharks, although I do swim in the ocean. But I'm also, like, weirdly fascinated with anything to do with sharks. I've watched all of the Sharknado movies. I've watched every Jaws. I love the Jaws franchise. I'm obsessed with it. I've watched, every shark movie that's ever been, the one with the, what's it called? Oh shoot, I can't remember, where she's on that rock for the entirety of that movie. I've watched every shark movie that's ever come out, okay? With the exception of like the worst 30 that are on cable for free, okay? And Santa Jaws must be one of those movies because I had never heard of it before and I had never seen it. But when somebody mentioned it, I was like, oh my god, this is perfect because I love to talk about sharks. I'm scared to death of sharks, so why not Santa Jaws? So let me give you a little synopsis of what Santa Jaws is about. You guys, it's almost so unbelievably bad, I don't even really know how to explain it to you. So, here I was pulling up some pictures, but let me go over here to the synopsis. Let me get my reading glasses on for you. Okay, are you ready? You guys are not ready. Hold on a second. Rotten Tomatoes will give you I'll tell you what. On Rotten Tomatoes, Santa, it got 56% audience score. And trying to survive the family Christmas, Cody makes a wish to be alone, which ends up backfiring when a shark manifests and kills his entire family. TV PG, it's considered sci-fi, blah, blah, blah. I don't really know. I don't know any of these actors that were in this movie. I don't know. Here are the 2 comments. It asks so little and gives so much. Thanks, Santa Jaws. A fairly decent horror comedy with a hilarious sense of humor about itself. I don't know that I would say that because the actors, to some degree, take themselves very, very seriously. Especially the main character that it plays, Cody. And, like, he has these scenes where he, like, talks to himself, which I hate in movies anyway. But, the other movie that people were recommending me to watch was called I'll Be Home for Christmas by Jonathan Taylor Thomas, which I actually saw years and years and years ago. So imagine that movie combined with Home Alone, combined with, I don't know, Goonies, but like a really bad version of Goonies, with the worst shark movie that you've ever seen in your entire life. You guys, I sat there and I watched this, and I was like, why did anybody make this movie? Like, there's literally, like, it's not even that enjoyable. I mean, it, for me, didn't even get 1 star, okay? It was so bad that I literally was like, okay, so here's what the movie's about, right? So there's this kid, and, like, his whole family is supposed to be visiting on Christmas. First of all, This movie has so many errors in it of things that like are wrong and right and all this kind of stuff. Like from the Santa hat being totally soaking wet 1 minute to being completely dry the next minute. I mean, like it comes out of the water and it's like soaking wet, and then it comes out of the water. It's completely, there's no rhyme or reason to this movie. So this kid, who he draws comic books, his name is Cody, right? And he has his best friend named Steven. And they're doing this comic together, which is called Santa Jaws. So the whole movie starts off with like a scene from that, and he's like dreaming it, and then he kind of like comes out of it, and he's talking to his friend Steven, and they're in this comic book shop, right? So he goes home, and he's very much like the kid from Home Alone. Like, he's just annoying everybody in the family, and they don't really want him around, and he's the one, he's the one causing all the problems. It's very much that. So he gets grounded by his mom because he drew this cartoon of the principal, and so then the principal calls the mom on Christmas Eve, because of course that would happen, right? Because like the principal just found out about this cartoon and would call the mom on Christmas Eve, so then he gets, which is interesting because, anyway, that's besides the point. I could go off on tangents about this movie literally for 3 hours. Okay, so he's in his room, and then his papa, his grandfather, who's the first one that gets killed by Santa Jaws. Trust me, I'm not ruining it for you because you don't want to watch this movie. I know there's some of you out there that are like, I'm so going to watch this movie, and if you want to, it's on Amazon Prime for free. So anyway, so his papa, his grandpa, leaves him this early Christmas present. And this is the kind of like talking to that I'm talking about, right? So he's opening his present. He's like, wow, I wonder what this could be. What is this early Christmas present that I have received? It's so bad, you guys, okay? So on top of it being a shark movie at Christmas time, oh, no, there's a magical element to it too, okay? And not magical realism at its best. So he gets this pen, okay? Which this pen looks like it's from something from the Never-Ending Story. And it has German on the front of it. And so it's basically like whatever he draws comes to life, right? So his mom is screaming at him, and he's like, I hate her. And he's like drawing on this shark, and he's just like outlining this shark. So all of a sudden it sets off the shark, and now the shark is like not just in a comic book, he's real, okay? So the next morning, his papa's like, come fishing with me. It's a Christmas Eve. Is that a Christmas Eve or Christmas Day at that point? I think it might be Christmas Day. I don't know. I was so confused. It's like nothing about this movie looked Christmassy, okay, except for maybe some of the decorations. And the fact that they had to kill this shark with only Christmas things, including the Christmas turkey, which they threw at it with a catapult. I can't make this up, you guys. They had a catapult with Christmas turkeys that they were firing into the water, okay? It was so bad. So, okay. So, oh, by the way, there's also an uncle that's real rich. There's always a rich uncle that comes to visit, and he's got this new wife who I think she took every acting bit from Alexis from Schitt's Creek and just totally stole it for the character for this movie because she acts exactly like her, but a really bad version of it. So anyway, and she's like Instagram famous, and she's always taking her pictures and her selfies and stuff. It's weird, okay? It's just very weird. And like this guy's sitting here that like the film knows when to laugh at itself. I mean, nobody went into a movie called Santa Jaws with this much ridiculousness and knew that they weren't making a comedy. I mean, I understand that it's a comedy, but it's like not even funny, okay? Because it comes across as like a family movie. It feels like a family movie. So the kid goes to Cody, the kid. Well, first of all, he's going to get in the truck with his grandpa to go fishing, even though he's grounded. And his grandpa's like, who cares if you're grounded? Come anyway to go fishing. It's a tradition, right? So he's going to the truck, and he's looking across the street at this girl that moved in across the street, and she's stretching because she runs 30 miles a day or something like that because she's getting college scholarships left and right. There's all kinds of backstories to this movie, okay? So he's watching her, and he falls on his face. So anyway, so Grandpa and him are at the water, and they're like sitting there on the dock, and they're fishing, and Grandpa gets eaten by the shark. So Cody comes home, he tells his parents. His parents are like, you're lying above all else, okay? What we don't like is lying. Forget the Santa Jaws, okay? What we don't like is lying, okay? So then he's at home again, right? So then they leave, and he's like, no, I have to save this. I have to save everybody in the world from Santa Jaws. So he goes to the comic book store and try to get this comic because he's like, he thinks the comic book will like solve this. So he's talking to his friend Steve, and there's this big Christmas party at the comic book store, right? Which never happens, really. So anyway, he goes and tries to get this comic book, but the girl across the street who just moved in here like a month ago, the one that can run 30 miles a day, she apparently loves comic books on the side. So she came into the comic book store store, and so this guy that owns the comic book store, instead of her buying a comic, he just happened to give her Santa jaws. So they have to go with her to the marina, because her dad has this huge sailboat at the marina, right? This thing that looks like a pirate, like Pirates of the Caribbean. And so she has to go in there and get the Santa jaws, so she gives it back to them. Well, then people start getting killed at the marina. There's this guy gets this elf, and he gets his legs eaten off by Santa Jaws. It's so bad. Or not, he pushes the boat into it cuts off his legs, and he comes stumbling towards them, and he's like, help me! Anyway, so then Cody's brother, who's older, who's like a baseball star, there's this very sweet moment with his older brother and the friend Steven, because, you know, Steven and Cody are nerds, because they just listen to or read comic books and make comic books. And so he's giving him like a hard time about this baseball thing, and he's like, why are you giving me such a hard time, man? And he's like, you and your friends, your jock friends, this is like the Goonies moment, right? He's like, you and your jock friends are so mean to me and Cody. And he's like, yeah, he's like, but you know what? Not all of my friends are gonna get college scholarships. For a lot of my friends, this is as good as it gets. And he goes, and right now, we're in the 9th inning, and we've got to kill that shark. And Steven is like, yeah. And I was like, this movie is so effed up. What is going on here? So anyway, so then they are trying to kill the shark, and they've got rifles and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, and they can't kill the shark. It's just bouncing off the shark. The shark's eyes glow like Rudolph, supposedly. And he's so big. It's a she. She's so big because she ate Santa Claus, is what was in the comic book, okay? Then they realize the reason they can't kill her is because they can only kill her with Christmas things, okay? Now, at this point, there's been about 6 people that have been killed by Santa Jaws, and she's just killing people left and right at this point. In this little bay that literally looks like, I don't know, part of the Intercoastal in Florida, okay? Like, it literally looks about like 30 feet all the way around. It's like this little bay. And so, the mom and the dad, of course, they own a restaurant. Well, they own a restaurant, and then dad is also a physics teacher at the high school. And then they have this massive house as well. So I don't know how that all works out. But the dad says, I counted in the movie because it was driving me crazy. He says ain't like 15 times. He's like, well, this ain't good, and this ain't that, and this ain't that. And I was like, and it doesn't seem like it's natural to him, so it seems like they've told him to say ain't, because it would be like, you know, natural, of course, for this dad to be, it's so weird. You guys, it's so bad. So then, mom and dad are now helping, okay? And then they decide that they're gonna, like, you know, they have to kill the Jaws with all Christmas stuff. And so they need something to lure Jaws in, right? Well, that could be nothing more than what? The Christmas turkeys. Oh, by the way, okay, before we get to all that, the guy that owns the comic book store, he has stolen the pin now, okay? So he has conjured himself up a wife from Russia, okay? A really cool car, old vintage car, and cash and all this kind of stuff. So then they fight with him over this pin, because see, they need the pin to rewrite the story, if you get, you know, okay. So anyway, so then the girl that's like the Olympian, she dives in after it, and she doesn't get killed. Oh no, she does get killed. She does get killed. So anyway, I kind of forget what happened at the end of the movie. Now I'm just like, I just finished watching it about an hour ago. I think they all come back to life at the end of the movie. But anyway, oh yeah, they do. They all come back to life, because he goes down in the Christmas living room, and they're all like, where have you been? And then he's real nice, because Papaw is like, well, who wants to get the cinnamon rolls? And he goes, well, I'll begin, because of course he's had, like, you know, this Scrooge moment overnight because of Santa Jaws, and now he's been like, you know, he's a good Christian now, see? And he's like had this come to Jesus moment, and now he wants to be real family and friendly and all this kind of stuff. Oh yeah, and then he goes across the street to the girl. She got eaten by a shark, but apparently it was just a dream. You say it's just a dream. Oh no, you say it's just a friend. But anyway, say it's just a friend too. And then he says, she gives him the comic book back, and then he ends up burning it. Because in the before that, he burns it, and then the shark explodes. The shark has these eyes that glow up, and she's got, what do you call it? Christmas tree lights around her, and all this kind of, she goes through. I'll throw some pictures up here so y'all, because I know you're not going to believe it, but it's so bad, you guys. Anyway, so then mom and dad, they're doing all this. The brother gets eaten by, he gets stabbed through somewhere with this, well, they tried to kill it with this peppermint stick, see? Okay? Because, of course, that makes sense. And then that just lodged into the shark's head, and now he kills people with this large peppermint stick, of course. And so the brother, he goes, and that he's next, right? So he's dead. And then the dad is like, no! And so, of course, with Santa Claus in the water, the dad, what? He's so stupid, he jumps into the water. Why would you do that? Okay, there's a shark in the water. That would be stupid. There was only one smart person in this whole movie, and it's the woman that was the Instagram model, but she gets killed too. And I don't want to ruin it for you, but she's eating a candy cane. They said that Christmas stuff attracts Santa Claus. But anyway, so she gets killed, but she said we should go to mainland and call the police. I'm like, I agree, okay? And he's like, no, because I invented her. This is my comic. So then at the very end, I don't know why this never occurred to them before, he burns the comic, and then everything goes back to normal, and the shark explodes. Merry Christmas! So anyway, that was Santa Jaws, the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Well, not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's up there. It's probably the top 10 worst movies I've ever seen, and definitely one of the worst Christmas. I think this is honestly the worst Christmas movie I've ever seen. So anyway, put it in the comment section below what you guys would like to me review. I just finished Heaven's Gate. I think I'm on the documentary on HBO Max. I think I'm going to review that as well. And I might start reviewing, like I did when I first started this channel, the TV shows and stuff that I watch when I like binge a series or something. I think I might review it over here. So let me know what you think of that. And pick another Christmas movie, a bad Christmas movie. Put it in the comment section below. And next week I will be reviewing one of those movies. So anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you then. Bye.